Hello, friends. Dear Burt, 28. Okay, the painting behind me is, I did a little forest scene, and it came out pretty fair. I was actually thinking about painting the daisy pond, so that's kind of like my conception of what the daisy pond would look like when you walked in on it from the forest. Okay, let's get some questions. So we have Jane says, Dear Burt, I have a question. We hear so much about hormones and additives in the food, and there are people who have the destructive habit of drinking soda. If we take a minute to bless what we eat and have the intention that it feeds our body, can that prevent the harm that usually is associated with the chemicals we're ingesting? Now that might at first seem like, it's an odd question. What do you mean? How can you change food? Well, there's a way. And I used to, in the seminars, I always had a period there where I showed people how to take the negative energy out of foods. We use kinesiology for this. Kinesiology is usually works with two people. What I would do, I would have a person hold their arm up and to resist me, and I would pull their arm down, and if they were weak on something, their arm would go down. And what I would do, coffee and cigarettes usually will weaken a person. So I would have a person drink a cup of coffee, or no, let me rephrase that. I would have a person hold a cup of coffee in their hand next to their thymus right here. And I'd say, now resist me. And with two fingers, I would just pull their arm down. And then I would take the negative energy out of the coffee by using a pentagram. A pentagram is a star, circle, and dot. Now my intention, of course, is to take the negative energy out of the coffee and then resist me, and they were strong. So apparently it works to take the negative energy out of the coffee. Now I have had people who weren't sure about how to draw a pentagram, and they would just draw a circle. And that seemed to work also. Now, it's your intention, once again. So how do you do that? Well, you look at your food, you draw a circle, and that's it. I would take it a step further. I would make my circle and tell the vegetables that I was eating, if there were a plate of vegetables in front of me, I would say, boy, you are lucky vegetables. Now, this is all mental, of course, lest you think I'm a little wacky here. You are lucky vegetables because you're about to merge your very, very basic consciousness with the highest form of consciousness, the human consciousness. And then I would eat it. And I would do the same thing, whatever food that I would have. It was kind of a blessing of the food, and also preparing my body to let us say, to take the food and make the best use of it. I hope that answers your question there, Jane. Maybe one day I'll spend a little more time at that one. It's kind of an interesting point. And Jean says, this blog, et cetera, I'm sure, well, apparently she has a lot of projects talking about procrastination. As a result, all too often I'm surrounded by too many unfinished projects. How would you deal with this kind of self-sabotage? It seems like a sort of procrastination, but also different. Well, it is a kind of a procrastination, but it's more of an overwhelming. What happens is you have one thing to do, you do it. You have two things to do, you do it. You have three things to do. You have four things to do. I think I'll take a walk around the block, and nothing gets done. Take the things that you have to do and put them in an order of importance, hierarchy. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Then work on number 1. Forget about the rest of them until you finish number 1. Then when you finish number 1, number 2 becomes number 1, number 3 becomes number 2, etc. And that way you'll get everything done. Concentrate on only one thing at a time. Dear Burt, this is from Misty, I believe. Can you tell me how to get the courage to move from a safe and secure job that I've had for 20 years to a better paying and more exciting job as a school administrator? Well, apparently, you have the job in hand, but you're kind of afraid of the change. And you know something? This is what bothers most people, change. We all have our comfort zones. And when you're comfortable with something, you know, change is very, very difficult. Matter of fact, one of our great philosophers, Eric Hoffer, even wrote a book, an entire book on the ordeal of change and how exasperating it is. You take a little child, they're the ones, infants, they are the ones who have the biggest problem with change. Because everything is changing. The people are changing, they're constantly being introduced to new people, and the bed changes, they go from the crib to a bed, school, everything, friends change. The only thing that they have sometimes is an old smelly blanket or a little doll or something. And they hang on to that like it's a life sustaining, like it's a life jacket. Why? Because it's the only thing in their life that isn't changing. And they hang on to it. Well, we all have our security blankets. A security blanket is something that's comfortable. Now, without change, there's no growth. There cannot be growth without change. So you have a little change here. Now, how can you accept the change? Just go to your meditative state, meditate, and view the change as a positive event. See yourself a week after the change, a month after the change, a year after the change. See yourself very happy with it. And you'll get over that fear. Marilyn Williams, let's see. This is a long one. I'm not going to read it all. Just, she says, you mentioned unconditional love for children. What about conditions for adult relationships? For example, I can love someone but not want to continue a relationship at the same depth unless they meet a few reasonable conditions. Reasonable to you, that is. Such as no drug use, reasonable, monogamy, reasonable, willingness, and ability to pay their share of the bills, etc. Is that out of line? This subject confuses me as much as forgiveness. What's your viewpoint? Well, you know, unconditional love is not unconditional acceptance. When you have unconditional love for a child, the whole idea of that is that the child doesn't control your love. The child can't buy your love. The child can't improve your love, can't enhance it, nor can the child diminish it. That doesn't mean you can't clobber them once in a while. You may love the child and not like what they do. Unconditional love for an adult, that's a different thing. But let's say you did have it and they did take drugs. You say, well, I need, you have a good relationship, and a relationship is a filling of needs. And you have needs too, and I have a need for you not to take drugs, that's all. So you give them a choice. You want me or you want drugs? That's it. I love you, but I don't like what you do. I don't like the drug use. I don't like the fact you're not paying your share. So I will still love you, but from a distance. So you go your way, I'll go my way. May sound a little harsh, but if you're not happy with the way things are, well, then that's the way things have to be. We just have room for one more, and I'd have to hurry this one. Hannah from Lund asks about her dog. Is there any way that she can heal the dog? I'm rushing this one because of the time. Take a glass of water. Energize it. Hold a glass of water like this. Imagine energizing rays of light coming out of your forehead into the water. It's healing water. That's what you're doing. You're inducing healing energies into the water. And then pour it into your dog's dish or your cat's dish. It's a wonderful way to heal an animal with drinking water. But energize the water and then give them the water to drink. If you bathe your animal, if you bathe your dog, energize a glass of water and pour it into the bath. Or you can energize the water and pat it on it. That's all we have time for now. We're almost at 10 minutes, which is the absolute limit. So thank you very much. See you next Friday. Have a good day, a good week, a wonderful month, and a very successful and happy 2010. Thank you.